Here we go. Number 6. Samsung faking its phone's speed. 2013. Samsung releases the Galaxy S4, their flagship phone at the time. Reviews came out raving about the performance. Benchmark scores were impressive. The phone looked fast on every test. Then some tech journalists started digging. What Samsung had done was hidden code inside the phone that detected when a benchmark app was running. And when it did, it automatically cranked the CPU and GPU to their maximum speed. In every other situation, the phone ran slower. Benchmark scores were boosted by around 20% compared to real-world performance. You were buying a phone based on numbers the phone couldn't actually maintain in daily use. Samsung never denied doing it. Their argument was essentially, we weren't legally required to tell you. They fought the resulting class action lawsuit for 5 years and eventually settled for $13.4 million. Every Galaxy S4 owner got $10. To put that in context, the phone cost $649. Your compensation for being misled was 1.5 cinema tickets. The settlement also said Samsung would stop cheating benchmarks, but only for 3 years. After that, they were technically free to do it again, which is perhaps the most Samsung sentence ever written in a legal document. Number 5.
Exploding washing machines.
In 2016, over 2.8 million Samsung washing machines were quietly being recalled because the tops were blowing off them. Over 730 reports of the tops detaching. The Consumer Product Safety Commission described the tops as completely blowing off under high spin cycles due to a design failure that didn't secure the lid adequately. Number 4. Samsung TV, listening to you. In 2015, someone actually read Samsung's smart TV privacy policy, and buried inside it was this sentence. Please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured and transmitted to a third party. The voice recognition feature on Samsung smart TVs was always listening for commands, and when it picked something up, it sent it along with your voice to a third-party company that converted speech to text. The company didn't have great encryption practices, so your living room conversations were being recorded and transmitted, sometimes without robust protection. Tech journalist Parker Higgins put the Samsung privacy policy side by side with George Orwell's 1984 on Twitter. The comparison went viral. The 1984 quote about telescreens watching you while you watch them suddenly felt less like fiction. It was retweeted tens of thousands of times. Samsung's response was that you had to activate voice recognition, and that conversations were only transmitted when you said a command. Critics pointed out the privacy policy didn't make this clear. A US senator wrote a formal letter demanding answers. Samsung revised the policy and tightened how voice data was handled. The CIA later used a version of this vulnerability revealed in the WikiLeaks Vault 7 documents to listen through Samsung smart TVs without the screen appearing to be on. Number 3. The Galaxy Fold, February 2019. Samsung announces the Galaxy Fold, the first real foldable smartphone. $980. A screen that folds open from phone to tablet size. This was supposed to be the future. April 2019. Samsung sends review units to journalists. 2 days later, the screen on The Verge's unit had a bulge and crack. CNBC's unit was completely unusable. Bloomberg's was broken. MKBHD peeled off what looked like a protective film, which turned out to be part of the actual screen, and his went black. Multiple major tech reviewers had a $2,000 phone that was dead within 48 hours. The protective film was part of the display structure, not a removable screen protector, and Samsung hadn't clearly communicated this. Some screens also broke without the film being touched at all. Samsung delayed the launch and went back to redesign the Hinge. They eventually relaunched it in September 2019 with improvements. The foldable line became commercially successful over the following years, but the launch remains one of the most memorable PR disasters in smartphone history. Number 2. The Galaxy Note 7 disaster. The most famous product recall in smartphone history, and honestly one of the most chaotic corporate disasters of the last decade. August 2016. Samsung launches the Galaxy Note 7. It's beautiful. It has an iris scanner. It beats Apple's iPhone 7 to market by a month. It's supposed to be the phone of the year. 5 days after launch, the first explosion was reported, then another, then dozens. The batteries were overheating and catching fire. Samsung rushed out a recall, and replacement program ships you a new phone with a different battery. Except the replacement phones also started catching fire. One smoked on a Southwest Airlines flight, and the passengers had to evacuate. The US Department of Transportation banned the Note 7 from all flights entirely. Yep, it was this bad. Bringing one onto a plane became a federal offense. Airlines were announcing it by name at the gate. If you have a Samsung Galaxy Note 7, you may not board this aircraft. Samsung ended up recalling over 2.5 million units globally. There was even a funny mod at the same for GTA 5 that replaced the sticky bomb weapon in the game with a Note 7. You could throw Note 7s at people and cars and they would explode like grenades. It was downloaded thousands of times. Samsung issued a copyright takedown on the YouTube video showcasing the mod, but YouTube later restored the video. What a shame. The total cost, including lost sales, recall logistics, and damaged reputation, was estimated at $17 billion. The Note line itself never fully recovered, after launching the Note 8, 9, and 10 to moderate success. Samsung quietly killed the Note series entirely in 2021. The Galaxy Note 7 was released in 2016. It was the same year as their washing machine's disaster. Samsung was simultaneously recalling its flagship phone and its flagship appliance. Looks like 2016 was a quite explosive year for Samsung. Samsung is a company that moves fast. Faster than almost anyone else in consumer tech. Their product cycle is aggressive, their launches are ambitious, and their willingness to push into new categories before anyone else foldables. Iris scanners, curved screens is genuinely impressive, but the benchmark cheating happened because they prioritized looking fast over being fast. The Note 7 happened because they rushed to beat the iPhone 7 to market and didn't test the battery properly. The Galaxy Fold happened because they sent out review units of a product that wasn't finished. The washing machine recall happened because a design flaw went undetected. These aren't random bad luck. They're what happens when speed consistently beats thoroughness. The interesting thing is Samsung has genuinely learned from some of these. The post-Note 7 battery testing process is now one of the most rigorous in the industry. The foldables became commercially viable after the initial disaster. But the benchmark manipulation came back in 2022, when Samsung was caught throttling performance on 10,000 apps, including YouTube, Instagram, Netflix, and TikTok, while appearing to run at full speed during benchmarks. The Reed did that same Galaxy S4 bad practice. Geekbench delisted Samsung phones from their browser. The pattern had another entry. Samsung is not uniquely evil. Apple slowed down old iPhones without telling people. Google has its own version of this list, but this video is about about Samsung, but yeah, other companies have their loads of questionable choice as well. Anyways, that's it for the video. Subscribe for more video like these, and see you in the next one.